What is up, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Today we are talking about effects loops. Actually, two effects loop or not two effects loop. The way I've always looked at it is, for the most part, I prefer to run things strictly to the front end of the amplifier, whether that be modulation, especially delays, reverbs, things like that. But it's because I tend to run the front end of my amps a little bit cleaner, and then I use pedals, which would be basically pre the delay into the front end of the amp for all my gain staging. But I also have amps that I really dig, like the G20. I've got my Revv 740 down there, and those have channel gain. Those are channel switching amplifiers, and that's where you run into trouble, is when you're running a bunch of gain at the front end of the amplifier, or a good amount of gain. That's when your delays and reverbs and things like that are going to take off. So in this video, I'm just going to focus on using a delay to the front end of the amp. I've got a fairly high gain sound setup. At least for me, it's fairly high gain. So it's the second channel of the G20, blue aggression mode. Now, the delay I'm using is this, it's a Walrus MAKO, it's a D1 series. Cool delay. The way I've got it set up right now is so that the repeat, the tone of the repeat sounds similar to what's happening from the guitar. So I don't have the repeat so it's brighter, and I don't have it a bunch darker either. And it's got maybe 4 repeats going on, and that's what I normally like to do just for delay in general, if I just want to have something on for ambiance. And you know, I can do more repeats if I want it to be a little more silky. Now, I don't want to go into, you know, how to dial up a delay. I've already done a video kind of covering that. The main thing is what I want you guys to hear is the difference between having this to the front end, because I can guarantee you, and you'll hear it in my example, that if I plug this straight to the front of the amp now without changing anything, it's going to be drastically different, almost unlistenable, and you'll hear it in the examples. So what I've done is I've played basically 2 examples. One example is kind of a Daniel Lanois thing, and I used a modulated delay. It was like a dual delay, so it had like 2 parallel delays going on from the Walrus delay. And then the second example I did was more of a high gain kind of solo thing, but I actually used a dual delay again, no modulation or anything, but pretty syrupy. And then all I did was, for each example, I played it once with the delay in the effects loop, and then the next time you hear it, it's with the delay to the front of the amp without actually changing anything. Now, full disclosure, when I did the solo thing, I did actually turn the mix quite a bit down to make it so it was at least bearable. But you'll get the idea really quickly as to why you would want to use delays specifically, but even mods and stuff like that, in the effects loop as opposed to the front end of the amp. So check it out. So let me know what you guys heard in those examples. In the first example, the Daniel Lanois style thing, that's to each his own. For me, I almost prefer the second take because the delays are a little bit less predictable. If anything, I probably would have ran just a little bit less gain, but I would have been more apt to do that sound with the delay to the front. It's maybe a little too much the way I had it dialed, but that was for the example. And then, of course, the second take of the kind of solo thing, that's where it gets really out of control, and that's where it's absolutely necessary to put something like delays or reverbs in the effects loop. So let me know what you guys heard. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next time.